It is still the week after the rookie draft, and we are excitedly drafting rookies in Dynasty. Best ball season is alive and well. So, me and Wyatt got together, we made consensus rankings, and we made for you another tier list right here on the Fast Draft channel. Okay, Wyatt, welcome for your first time on the channel. We're brand new here, so I'm sure it's not going to be your last time since you work for the same company I do, but we're going to get the S tier out of the way. It's a bit chalky, like we have a little bit of discrepancy, but for me, it's none that I'm going to argue with. And that's why we make tiers, folks. Like we do this all the time. I'm like, oh yeah, that'll make sense. You know, this is a whole little bucket of players, so we don't have to fight on Twitter. Ashton, Jeanty, and when I make this graphic, every time I've done this now, I've put Ashton, Jeanty in S tier, but it's him, space, and then I like cram everyone else here, obviously. I'm going to change it up this time. I have Travis Hunter at 2, where I was going to change it up, but because it's consensus, we won't. You have him at 4, but right here, for the sake of this, he's at 2. Then Omarion, Hampton, Tetairoa, McMillan. We call him T-Mac, not Tet. Makes his mom upset, according to the internet, or him himself.
Oh, that's good to know.
Thank you. Yeah, I try to be respectful. TreVeyon, Henderson, and that closes out the S tier here. Of course, Jeanty is like consensus. You're either trading for a haul because your team probably isn't ready for Jeanty. A lot of my rosters are like that. Like my 101s, I'm like it's almost disrespectful for me to have Jeanty right now because this roster's so doo-doo. And I love the back end of the first round so much that I'm willing to just collect those picks right there. I'm going to ask you, are you still hesitant on Travis Hunter's usage and that's why you're hesitant? Or do you just love and feel so good about the running backs that you're just going to take them?
It's a little bit more just love for the other players in the tier. Not that I dislike Travis Hunter in any way. I think he's a complete unicorn, could be an amazing player in the NFL. I expect him to be an amazing player in the NFL. The only knock you can give him is that I don't want to do we've never seen it before, because I'm expecting him to do it. It's just do it to what volume, like how much on offense, how much on defense. They say he's going to be on offense first. I expect that to be true, but still how much actually happens. You know, I'm not like, if we're going to nitpick at the top of this draft where there are some truly elite options for us, like that is a nitpick for me. Whereas, you know, Omarion, Hampton falls into a great spot. Plenty of volume there. McMillan, T-Mac, I love as a prospect, and I love the landing spot to be Bryce Young's number 1 target. So it's just nitpicking.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with T-Mac. I love him a lot too. In one draft, I just wanted to share because I'm big on I like to draft buff receivers, and I don't like to think about receivers often. So like and especially when you draft like that, you tend to have crappy running backs. So this is the draft for me. So I was just like, you know what? I just really like him. I think he's neat. So I wanted him. They'll be running backs. And then like I said that, and because I had another pick coming up like 4 later, everyone that I thought would fall like went. So I'm like, well, fuck. So I hit up the Quinshon owner. I'm like, can we do a retroactive pick swap? Do you want team? So it's like, I like all these players. Another one here that's a discrepancy. I'm big that I think TreVeyon Henderson is the RB2 still with even with Omarion Hampton, and that's for multiple reasons. I think that Omarion Hampton is going to be a frustrating player because we think that he deserves to get, 80% of the like Bijan touches. Doesn't have a lot of receiving profile, and I think that's a little bit concerning. But Najee Harris does, and I'm not here saying like Najee Harris is great, but I do think it's going to be closer to 60-40. Than a lot of people are comfortable with, and probably for a lot of his career because of the amount of volume. And now we live in an NFL where they don't want to kill players, whereas TreVeyon Henderson has the same problem, but he's on the other side of that coin where he has such a great receiving profile. And I know what Josh McDaniels and this offense wants to do. The James White years, we finally have a James White who can handle a little bit of a rushing load. And you want to talk about Najee being doo-doo. Can we really say that Ramondre Stevenson is just like all that? Like if he's literally fumbled the bag away. He's had
Yeah, he's
every
trying to lose it.
opportunity. He's trying to lose it. So where are you at there?
Yeah, so before the draft, I had Henderson above Hampton. Although very close between the two, I just prefer
Mm-hmm.
Henderson's pass catching upside to Hampton. I think Hampton is a fine pass catcher, but Henderson can do more. He can be a legit weapon in the passing game, and he can earn more targets because of that. But I have to give some respect to the draft capital, and I try not to move my players between tiers much when it comes to draft capital, unless it's really extreme. But because they're already close, Hampton having that first round draft capital in a really good offense kind of broke the tie for me between the two post draft. I still love Henderson. I don't think Ramondre Stevenson is a threat at all. I don't think Najee Harris is a threat at all to Hampton either. Those are both both of those. I think they just knock them out. That's done. These two are the guys. But Hampton went to what I think is, we know, a good offense, and we're hoping that the Patriots are going to be a good offense. And while we can have good fantasy players from bad offenses, that is just one of those tenets we go into with fantasy, is we want the good players on the good offenses. So when we're nitpicking, again, don't take this as any shade to Henderson, because I love Henderson. But if we're nitpicking between these players, that's what helps break the tie for me.
And this is why I say, all the things you said about the players that are in this tier and in this bucket, I have zero arguments.
Exactly. Yeah. It's tough.
For sure. Yeah. It's we're done. That's why on the rookie tiers, I start from the top to the bottom. I'm I'm not going to fight over great people. we're not going to do that. But most times I'll flip it from the bottom to top. But the one thing I do want to push back is I still don't think Najee Harris is not nothing. Define nothing that he's done for you. Like split that up as into what you think would be a backfield share.
I'm expecting a 60-40 probably, which is as good as you could really ask for a rookie coming into the NFL, I would say. I think Najee's absolutely going to be involved, but I think Hampton's going to be taking over the backfield as, if you want to call it the 1A, you can call it the 1A, but a 60-40 split, which is, pretty good when you look at a lot of backfields, I would expect for Hampton.
Then I take that back. I have nothing to say, because the way you said that, I was
Najee. Najee is a professional, consistent running back, does the job well.
Yeah, he's one of those people that's I literally say, it's people like the David Montgomerys. We do this every year. Why does David get the ball? It's because when you need him to get 3 yards, he gets 3 yards. If you need him to get 6 yards, he's going to get 3 yards, And I know that sucks, but some coaches just want you to not get a negative play and just move the ball. People sometimes don't understand just how bad negative plays are, because if that wasn't an issue, DeAndre Swift would have been worth the value that he was worth 4 years ago, but that never happened. We're going to move on to the A tier, which got small because I want to say that I got roasted a lot throughout the season when I was doing mainly just rookie content and college content, because I pretty much faded all the quarterbacks. So I don't want it. And everyone's like, well, it's super flex. So by process, you have to. And I'm like, that's not true. You could do what you want. We mostly live in a free will society, So Cam Ward, you have him at 6. I have him at 6. It's, to me, he's not as an elite talent as everywhere else. And we kind of already talked about it. There's just nothing inspiring for me about the Titans right now. I like Elic Ayomanor a lot, but Calvin Ridley, we know what that is. And more importantly, I just don't believe in Brian Callahan. He kind of gives me the ick. What do you think?
Yeah, I think if you're putting Cam Ward ahead of any of the players we've already talked about, it's only because of positional scarcity, being super flex, because he's a quarterback, but he's not that great of a quarterback prospect. He's a good quarterback prospect, but he's not a 101 most years. And I think that's consensus. Most people feel that way. So it's okay to recognize that and say that I'm just going to take the elite players at the skill positions and, let Cam Ward be behind them. I think he could have success. It's not that great of an offense. They've made a lot of improvements, but again, like I was just saying about the Patriots, we hope things improve based on the moves they make. I have more confidence in the Patriots because I think their moves have been better than what the Titans have done. But yeah, I mean, we're projecting a lot if you think Cam Ward's going to be really good year one, and I'm not so sure he will. And yeah, will he probably retain some value even if he's not great because he's a QB in Superflex? Yeah, but what if it's bad? And because people already don't think of him as one of the top QB prospects, maybe his positional value as a QB in Superflex isn't going to be as steady as some other QB prospects.
Yeah, and then this isn't just me making something up. Like I'm getting all right at evaluation, and I talk to other people who are even better than I am. There are serious concerns about his processing. Like a lot of the things that everyone loves is like he's just out there hooping. He's out there just balling out like that. That's kind of a problem because he's just never ever playing on time. And a lot of people aren't really seeing that as a consistent problem in the NFL. Like Justin Fields, like look at all these amazing plays he did off script. It's just like, yeah, man, it's college. They make it easy for these players to play on time. And when they're not, you kind of wonder if, and especially when you see the talent discrepancy between someone who is, let's say, draftable talent and not, like he's getting away with things that he isn't going to get away with in the NFL. And I go back to the coaching. Like to be honest, especially seeing what the Raiders have done now, I'm kind of really bought into what Pete Carroll and the Raiders or maybe Tom Brady's done. If I had that level of confidence year one from the Titans with that new staff, I would have said something to be like, year one, they shit the bed, man. Like you shit the bed hard. Like, you did a bad job, and then you're going to come in now. And I don't feel like you're done cleaning up the shit.
Yeah, I love this point, honestly, about Ward and QBs in general. Like, is it awesome that Cam Ward has the ability to like make this magic happen when the play breaks down? Absolutely. Yeah. But sometimes he puts himself in those situations because he didn't perform well very early on in the play and read the play properly and gets himself into these bad situations. Now it's good he can get him out, but maybe not get in those situations as much.
Yeah, and that's like if you're a stat guy, I think time to throw, and especially looking at the clean pocket, look at those stats. That will help paint a picture for what like folks like me are seeing on film. Cause I'm just like, hey, that ball should be out. Like I get it's a 3-yard like dink or dunk, but in the NFL, that's all you get. You're not getting these bombs all the time. And that's why I'm not going to take these shots. I think Quinshon Judkins comes in on this list, and that easily closed out the tier between us. And I don't even think that's just between like an us thing. In rookie drafts, I'm seeing that now, and fast draft origins, I'm seeing that now, where you want to trade up aggressively for Judkins. And the only other one that I think is probably a little low on here, and we're going to get to that, is like in the next tier. Judkins, it's like best case scenario for him. I think the only thing I have trust on the Browns is a run game. That's it. That's all I believe in.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah. Myles Garrett in a run game. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it is a good spot. I honestly did not expect the Browns to take a running back this early just because I think they had plenty of holes on the roster, but they identified that they didn't need to attack. Maybe it was smart because they know their passing game is probably not going to be that great. So they're like, hey, let's make sure we have a good running game. Let's get Quinshon Judkins in here who can handle a large workload. Probably could play some third downs. I think Judkins is capable of third down work. He just didn't do it a lot of it in college, especially the last
didn't need to.
We've seen him. Yeah, because he played with the best third down back in the college in TreVeyon Henderson. Yeah, it's a great spot because he's going to get loads of volume. Ford is still there, but his contract is up at the end of the season. He'll probably play most third downs, but yeah, I'm expecting Judkins to get a very large workload.
Yeah. Nothing really to argue there, man. Quinshon Judkins, go get him. If there's someone out there that says Judkins sucks, I just don't listen. That's all I can say is just don't listen. Well, because a lot of times I think the type A, and especially this game, brings a lot of type A personalities. They do well because, they're very black or white, and it makes it easy just to take away a lot of the bias that gets people in trouble in fantasy, which is a good thing. But sometimes it just makes you hard to see the obvious answer just because there's a gray area. And like for this and the caveat for TreVeyon Henderson and Quinshon Judkins, and all year I heard it, and it's always like a litmus test to what type of running back you like. Do you like small boys who catch passes and go zoom, zoom? Or do you like big dudes who go thump, thump? Where they're just like, well, why didn't he take over the backfield? Why didn't he take over the backfield? They're running their team like an NFL offense now. Great friend and player profiler colleague, Anand Nanduri. Anen works in salary cap. His main job now is going to college and setting up salary cap systems in place now with NIL. Now they're saying, hey, we're investing money in these kids and our boosters expect wins. And a team like Ohio State says, why don't we just get 2 running backs and not run them into the ground? It's a crazy concept that we still haven't been able to put on a spreadsheet. And it's incredibly frustrating from someone who's a very X's and O's first person. Next, we're going to actually get into some debates and some fun topics and not the boring guys who everyone agrees is good. And we're going to get into the B tier. But before we go any further, if you guys want more Wyatt, more content like this, hit the like and subscribe button. We're going to be hitting this rookie content, but it's best ball season and Fast Draft is a best ball app. We're going to be talking a lot about 2025 early and especially Wyatt, certified best ball bro. We're going to be having him on often to talk about this all summer long. And believe it or not, if you are getting in on this action, one, it's affordable. One, it's two, it's fast. Three, you're going to get ahead in your normie leagues, in your redraft leagues, where you're just going to be raking in money because you're already ahead of the game. A lot of the newness is going to be gone, and you're right here with us in reality all season long. And if you want to try Fast Draft and if you want to try Best Ball, I have a code. Use code Jagger. Use code FAST. Wyatt has a show. Literally everyone's using it right now. There's no excuse for you not to have it. So hit the like, subscribe button, send a comment, and I'll help you out or with any fantasy questions. Now, after this ad, we'll get to our B tier. And we are back with our B tier. This is where it gets funky. We have Colston Loveland, Emeka Egbuka, Matthew Golden, Tyler Warren, Kaleb Johnson, Luther Burden III, RJ Harvey, Jaxson Dart, and Jayden Higgins. Colston Loveland, we're pretty chalky there. He's very good and is in an ideal situation. Cole Kmet has been ringing. He's been like rolling around the rim of the toilet his entire career, man. And that turd finally flushed. And I don't mean that. That's really aggressive. But he's a good blocker and he's going to be doing a lot of it. It's over. But I will say people won't be like, he's Sam Laporta. He's not as good as a blocker as Sam Laporta, but arguably a better receiver. So that doesn't mean the usage is same or over, it's not the same, but I just take that caveat and let's be a little realistic that Loveland is going to be good. And if he doesn't pop year one, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Remember Trey McBride? Let's, just chill the hell out. Emeka Egbuka is where we get funky here.
Yep.
I get it. I get where you're at. I think Emeka Egbuka, it's the perfect spot for him to go for all my complaints on film. I'm just worried about Tampa Bay and how long they hold on to these receivers. And this is no slight to anyone, but he needs to be the Chris Godwin role. But right now, the formula is working for him. So that's why they keep bringing on Mike Evans. So when Mike Evans retires, I was like, well, I just think that they're going to keep Chris Godwin. And I do think that there's room. And I'm not saying that Jalen McMillan's going to slot into something, but it's always seemed like it's going to be crowded. And I don't think he's a guy that can just demand targets like some of these other players. And this is me getting picky within tiers. I'm not saying he sucks or don't drive, but this is my reason why he's 13 and not 7. Are you one that just doesn't give a shit? You're just like, I think he's good and I'm willing to wait,
more or less. I had him 107 before the draft. I kept him at 107 after the draft. Pick 19, that's good draft capital. So I think slightly higher than people were expecting because I don't think people expected Tampa Bay to go wide receiver, but they were like, this is the best guy on the board to us, so they took him. And year one might not be exactly what we want, but I think there is some reason for optimism in year one. Mike Evans is old. At some point, that's going to drop off. We don't know when, but he doesn't look like he's going to drop off anytime soon. Just saying, that's the way it tends to happen with players. It's not a gradual drop off. They hit a wall. It happens, and it could happen at any point. Yeah. Chris Godwin obviously is the exact player you'd want Emeka Egbuka to be in the NFL. That's one of his comps coming into the NFL. There's a possibility that Chris Godwin's behind on his rehab. What if his ankle's not great? He's also torn ACL year before that. Coming off the ankle, just possibility. Also, last little thing for Egbuka is that I think he's capable of playing outside. Also, Godwin is capable of playing outside. I think that they could have them all three out there often and might even be their base offense if they're going to spend the 19th overall pick on Emeka Egbuka.
Yeah. The real answer here is Baker Mayfield continues to be like a discount. Like I just
Love it.
don't know
Love
why
him.
I don't know why we don't rank him higher in Dynasty, because a lot of times there's value insulation of having a good job. I think Baker Mayfield has a great job. He's finally at a place Tampa Bay loves him. Like he is the ultimate Florida man, and he's delivering. And that my only concern is that, are they going to keep rolling the dice on these offensive coordinators and them having the same value? But that is something I'm not going to knock it against them until I need to. There's no reason to. And a lot of it, the head coach kind of drives that culture down. So if he feels like, if he's going to hire someone, he's like, hey, I want you to do the same shit. Like if you got something new, cool. But like in theory, let's not Arthur
Right.
Smith this. Let's just go out and keep doing the same thing and let me worry about the defense. Matthew Golden, I think he's Jordan Addison at best, and I don't think that's as good as what a lot of people think. Like a lot of people think he's going to be the guy. The Packers, I, they love these wide receiver twos, man. I don't get it. I don't
I
get
know
it.
they
I would
finally
have
drafted
just.
one in round one, and they just drafted another wide receiver too.
I know. I was just like, why didn't you just get anything else and then go get another wide receiver? Go get Jalen Noel. Go get. They could have got Jaden Higgins or so.
Yeah,
There's a number of things they could have done and they chose not to. But I won't hit on that. Tyler Warren, love the player, hate the spot.
same. Big same.
I find myself trading out in rookie drafts for other people who love Tyler Warren because I love Terrence Ferguson and Mason Taylor as much. I think, and I'm gonna hit on that a little bit later. Um, Now we get to Caleb Johnson. What the fuck, bro? Okay.
Well, I mean, that's a good place to start. Yeah, no, I mean, this is exactly where we wanted Caleb Johnson to go, and I don't hate the guy, right? I actually think his projection for year one looks really good and moving forward. But we know that like he's not catching passes, like not happening. They basically already said like Warren's still third downs. He's going to get all the third downs. And whereas like, and that's what can separate like a player like him and Quinshon Judkins for me is like, I think Judkins has some third down ability and could earn some of that third down ability, whereas Caleb Johnson does not have that in his future currently. And if he's only first and second down, that limits his potential a little bit.
But this is also an offense that just likes to ground and pound, and I think there's
True.
like room where there's compensation for touchdowns. I know touchdowns aren't sticky, and it's more indicative of the offense than it is of just the player. So we're not going to chase that stat, but I do think there's room there. Really, my issue is like, yeah, you're right. Jalen Warren's there. I just have a hard time taking tight ends, especially Warren Loveland. I'll accept the argument. Egbuka, I wouldn't take over him. I wouldn't take Matthew Golden ahead of him. That's where I have my pushback here. It's not what you think of the player and his projections. It's just I think that safety and the value of where he's at should earn a little bit more dynasty value. Because like Golden, man, I have a Devi share that I don't even know how I got there. I'm just like, that's something. That's cool. He's another one where I would rather trade back because I like Jack Besh a lot better. I like some of these other guys in this tier a lot better. And this is how it's like a smorgasbord tier because like there's a lot like here. This is the area I'm trading back for in the draft. Like I had the 102. I did not need a quarterback. I wasn't desperate for wide receiver. I'm pretty loaded there. And I needed a couple running backs. So I traded the 102 for the 112, the 201, and then I sent a third to move up I sent the 302 to move up for the 203. So I basically turned that 112 into like the 102 to this entire tier.
Yeah, three
Just
shots in the
someone who,
tier.
yeah. So like this of all this thing we're nitpicking, I will tell people this is where you should be shopping, because there's reasons to like and love and hate all these people. Where are you at with Luther Burden? I'm in. I'm more worried about more.
Yeah, so I was a little bit lower on him as a prospect coming into the NFL as the community, I think, and that is because I do just have legitimate concerns about the usage in college. It's a bit of a red flag for me, and like I know that there are ways to explain it away, I can't get past it completely. And I do think that the Bears landing spot for him isn't the best. And that's just because I think DJ Moore's really good. I think Rome Odunze was still a good prospect. They just added Colston Loveland to this room as well. And my question is where does he fit in the offense? How does that work? What are the opportunities like? I know that, there's now all this stuff coming out, but like Ben Johnson, his offense is run through the slot, which is no surprise. Everybody knows that his offense is run through the slot, and that the projection is just to say, well, that's going to be Luther Burden. But
I
what
think
if
that's
it?
from Adunze.
I was
Like,
say,
to
but
be
what if it's
honest.
not Luther Burden? What if like they already have their preferred slot on the roster, and Burden's going to have to eventually work in somewhere else, or maybe he's a succession plan at the slot, or if something goes wrong, like I just don't want to peg him into that spot immediately. And because I was a little bit lower to begin with, and didn't particularly love him going to Chicago, just because the muddiness there for him, left me being a little bit lower here at 15 for me.
Yeah, I actually think Roma Dunze is what we think like Amon Ra is, with a little bit more flex out on the X and whatnot. And I think that Loveland, we hope he's Sam Laporta ish. And then it's Luther Burden and DJ Moore fighting for their life for who gets the Jameson role, and then who gets to be JMO and who gets to be Tim Patrick. Like to me, it just feels like Ben and all of his comments. I don't know if you've caught up on what he said. It literally feels like he's the Joker right now. He's just like, and we're gonna have tryouts, and he like breaks like the full throws it down there,
Yeah.
and I'm curious to see what happens there. And moreover, I think that DJ Moore is good, and Ben Johnson has the ick, and I think that he's going to get traded for like a third to go somewhere.
That's
Like maybe
interesting.
the Cowboys, or I wouldn't say the Patriots are done. I'm not convinced Kyle Williams is that. I think I think he was a great draft pick, but I'm not saying like, yeah, they figured out wide receiver. Yeah, we got some help that isn't Jalen
Yeah.
Polk and Kayshawn Booty. That's just where I'm at on that situation. So
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard the speculation of DJ Moore getting traded, but that'd be really interesting. I mean, but yeah, with Ben Johnson being new here, head coach here, I mean, it's very easy to just say like, oh, he's going to try and do what he did in Detroit, like bar for bar, and just put in the players where he feels best. But like, it's also possible that he's not. Like, he could
he's
just get to
not.
this.
Yeah.
He could just get to Chicago and be like, well, these are the players I have. I like these players. How do I fit the pieces correctly? There is no JMO role. There is no Amon-Ra St. Brown role. Like,
I agree.
so we just don't know, and because it's just muddy for me, that's what helps bring him down a little bit.
Have we jumped the shark with RG Harvey? I think we jumped the shark with the phrase "jump the shark." People have like now use that,
Yeah,
but
it is. It is good. Yeah,
yeah, it's out of hand. But are we out of hand with RJ Harvey to get back to the point at hand? Because that's another one. Like, you have back to back, but I like Caleb Johnson ahead of RJ Harvey because I feel like we're just so ready to trust Sean Payton. Sean Payton got Bo Nix right, and that's about it. Like, it's kind of been, let's just say it's just been kind of shitty for 3 years, man. And we're just like, we've got Bo Nix, baby.
I don't know.
Woo!
He hit on Vele, so I mean, there's that.
What is Devon Vele? Like, dude, his film is something else to watch. Like, you look at his stats, it's ugly. You look at his film, it's ugly. And this guy's eating like 13 targets a
Sean
game.
Payton gets up in the morning and just can't wait to find his next huge wide receiver that no one trusts.
He's like bizarro Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith, you could kind of see where, oh, he was really trying to trick us, but he went too far. Like Sean Payton is just like, buddy, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
Like why is this guy getting the ball? But again, I'm not saying I was sad. I just got sniped on RJ Harvey. I get it. I just we're going off on Raz, man, a little bit too much. And I think the tape shows a player that isn't as great as a runner as almost everyone. Actually, he's not as great of a runner as everyone ranked ahead of him. And he's a little bit overrated as a receiver. He is fast though. So
to be fair, I was actually lower on Harvey like going into the draft than consensus, and maybe I'm probably letting landing spot dictate where I rank him a little bit too much. I probably should have Caleb Johnson over him. I had Caleb Johnson ahead of him to go into the process. I mean, the landing spot is good in my opinion. I do think that Sean Payton has been a little bit of a jerk to us in general over the years, but there's no one else in this backfield. Like, it is Harvey's job, and he's a good receiver. So like I am just kind of like being a slave to the landing spot a little bit. I mean, also it's like, how long was he in college? I mean, this is our king. Um, I understand
Mhm.
like converted quarterback injury, that kind of stuff, but like we do this all the time. We can make excuses all the time for players. Like we just know that when players come out at this advanced age, they have a much lower chance of succeeding in the NFL compared to other players. So I mean,
Mhm.
yeah,
And we'll go. That's enough on that tier. Jaxson Dart. I don't love him, man. I get the process, and I won't argue that on the
yeah,
process. But like I said, I'm shadow realming these QBs. I won't argue there.
fair,
Jaden
fair.
Higgins, he's fine. What's weird is I like Jaylin. We have him ranked virtually the same. That's why. But like I think that Jalen Noel ends up being the better player at the end of the day, and Jaden Higgins becomes like the I want to say T Higgins, but like again, I'm not trying to slot in, but he's more the boom bust guy. Where I think Nico Collins is the alpha. Jalen Noel consistently gets targets, and then Jaden Higgins is just kind of elsewhere. And with that being said, we'll go ahead and move on to the C tier, where we have Jalen Noel, Bhayshul Tuten, Jack Besh, Tyler Shug, Mason Taylor, Cam Scatteraboo. I think you are way low on Bhayshul Tuten and Jack Besh. But that's just me.
I thought I was going to be high on Besh. I like because I'm in on Besh. I like him as a player. Um, I just like some of the other players more. I was surprised. I actually appreciate your aggressive ranking on Besh because I think he's a pretty darn good player. Uh, Tootin, that one's just like I was a little bit lower, I think, compared to everybody else on Tootin to begin with, just because like his projected draft capital, despite like how well he performed at the combine and everything, like didn't really change. Like he always was kind of projected to go like fourth round, maybe sneak in to day two. So wasn't surprised to me very much when he went fourth round. The landing spot is interesting though. ETN, I don't think is long to stay on the Jaguars. Um, and yeah, take Bigsby. I've never liked. he was pretty good last year, I guess, as a runner, but like offers nothing as a receiver. So it's possible Tootin like takes more of this backfield than I really think he will. But I'm not positive it happens and when it happens. And if he does, if he's going to get like a workload that we really care about, that we feel comfortable starting every week. So sell me on it.
It's really that Gladstone, what he said on it. Like he said they have a vision for him. And I'm looking at the Jags and the Bears as the two teams that are coming in tabula rasa, which for you guys don't know, that's a phrase that means clean slate. Where like it's like Tank Bigsby to me, shadow realm. um, Travis Etienne, I hope another team goes and says, "Hey, will you give me what you think is garbage? Because he's our treasure." Like the only thing, like I released a video today that says I like DeAndre Swift, but like Travis Etienne is the one I'm circling there as I'm scared that's going to kill any chance of Swift having a role or something like that. But it feels like these teams are bringing in their guys, especially these teams that are getting their stud quarterback in, and or they're taking over what they think is a stud quarterback who just needs a good environment around him. And I kind of see Bhayshul Tuten to be Bucky Irving in this offense, to where he's going to get a little bit of the passing and some of the rushing work, and Tank Bigsby is that 40% grinder that in fantasy you're hoping he's getting a touchdown, and it's not someone that you love having in your roster. And I was a big Tank guy, but it's Jover in my opinion. With Jack Besh on there, I know I've compared him to Puka Nakua. I'm not saying he's going to come in and do the same thing, but it's what Chip Kelly can do creatively. And now this offense is so versatile. You have Brock Bowers, you have Jack Besh, and then you have Jacoby Myers as a flanker and slot, and then Ashton Jeanty is in the backfield. That and the defenses have to honor him. And I really like that he immediately has a role I can pencil in, and I think he can eat targets. And there's a world which I really like Luther Burden, but there's a role where Jack Besh ends up being a better receiver, and we end up ranking him higher at the end of the year. Those are my two selling factors for those two players.
Yeah, I appreciate the bullishness on Jack Bash a
Mm,
lot, actually. Uh,
mm,
I think one of the things just holding me back is I do like think Chip Kelly can provide create a good offense for the NFL. We've seen him do it before. I'm just not sure how this offense works between these three, uh, Myers and Bowers and Besh. Besh did, have his best season outside, but he's kind of projected to be like a power slot type of player.
Hmm.
Jakobi Meyers can play inside and out. Bowers, we know, is kind of essentially a slot player. So, like, just what's this offense really look like? I'm not positive, and maybe that's holding me back a little bit in my Besh love.
That's fair. I watched a lot of Ohio State, and to be fair, I have nothing to tell you that says I know what the offense is going to be. But I know it's going to be fun because he's really creative how he uses people. It's like when your favorite director who makes something new every time you're like, what's it going to be? It's like, I don't know. And that's what's exciting. And
Mhm.
that's where I'm even more bullish on Geno. I think they've made every statement that says Geno was their guy. And used to the Raiders gave me the ick and I didn't want it. And I didn't like the Pete Carroll hire either, but I really see what he's done. And it really, you really see what the intention is. It's like when Dan Campbell took over for the Lions, how you're like, oh, fuck yeah, this seems like a real culture change
Yeah.
and they're real intentional what they want. And I don't know if that's Carroll and Brady, probably is both. I really, really, really see it, and I'm way in on it. Tyler Shug, that's just a hope and a prayer that we're getting like
Yeah.
David Mills, right? That's just
Yeah. I
like,
mean, it's just,
yeah.
going in the second
Mm.
round when he did, it seems like he might be New Orleans starter this year. Like,
Yeah,
my
this
ranking is also basically just like, I might be able to
process.
trade this guy, yeah, for
Yep.
something because he's a
Yep.
starting quarterback.
Yeah, like I like the leagues that I have quarterback in, and I'm like in that messy area of the in a second. I'm going to take Tyler Shug, but for the most part, I like some of these other guys more. But you're 100%. You're not like, well, he's going to be the guy forever. He's baby Uncle Baby, guys. He's old as shit. Like we
Yeah.
talk about RJ Harvey, he could be RJ Harvey's uncle at this point, and like NFL
Yeah.
years, you
What's
know.
the fun thing is like when he was Justin Herbert's backup when Herbert was a sophomore. So
Yeah,
it's just
and,
this is just a process play of like he might be a starting
and
QB and I could get something for that.
next we have the D tier. And this is like the significant drop off where it's not fun anymore. I hate Trey Harris, and I know why. I'm the reason why he's down there. I don't think he's good. Um, let me take that back. You guys get mad when I see he's not good. That's like the one time people comment like, "How could you say that about Trey Harris?" I think he's going to be a better football player than he is for fantasy, and he did get the ideal landing spot. I'm going to let someone else have him. I like Kyle Williams, literally one spot more. I'm willing to bet on that. Um, I don't know. He's something. Terrence Ferguson to the moon, dude. I'm way in. I'm way in. The Rams have had Tyler Higbee for 1,000 years. If there's, I haven't seen anyone who's had more chances than Tyler Higbee to be somebody, and he's not. But we know what Sean McVay can do. Terrence Ferguson had really good RAS. We know that that's very sticky as far as production. He was productive at Oregon, played at all three levels of the field, and can block. I'm way in. Jalen Milroe, I get the process. I'm out, dog. With that tier, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. So Harris, I think you're definitely onto something that he could just be a better football player than he is a fantasy player for us.
Mhm.
Makes sense, especially because we know that Lad McConkey is the number one there, like no questions
Yeah.
about it. Like I don't think Harris is ever touching Lad McConkey on that level. But I like have to give some credit to a 5.1 yards per route run in his final season. I understand advanced age for that season. I understand the Lane Kiffin offense, all those things. Like you don't do that without being kind of good, you know. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
lending something to that. I do think he can be a productive down the field player. So I do have interest there. Um, Terrence Ferguson's one where honestly, like, so I've I felt as I filled out my rankings in the sheet last night. I could have made some corrections if I wanted to, but I've actually been coming up on Terrence Ferguson just because like hearing the way Sean McVay and Les Snead talk about him, and I don't think Tyler Higbee's long for the team. I think this is probably it, if this
Shadow
entire
Realm.
year, right?
Mm.
Um, and just thinking about Terrence Ferguson and that offense with the way they talk about him, it does get really exciting. So like I admit that I think my ranking is low at this point. I don't know if I'll come up as high as you came up, but I definitely think that I need to make a correction there.
Mm-hmm.
Milroe, I wanted to have some confidence in that, like if he was going to go day two or on round two. I thought he was going to go round two, kind of like Shuck did. Him to falling to third is a little rough, but he is a player that we know it's going to take multiple years in the NFL. Like they might have some packages to get him on the field just because he's such a dynamic runner and athlete, but like as a passer, it is not there. Like everyone knows, like not there.
Doo
Really
doo.
good arm. Like he can put the ball anywhere on the field. He just can't do it consistently, and he has trouble reading defenses. So like we know he's got a long way to go, and that kind of a project. I kind of want to take shots on that, which is why I'm a little bit higher on the ranking, especially behind Sam Darnold, who's basically on a glorified 1-year contract. Like they can move off of that pretty easily next year. And if that happens, maybe we're hearing Milroe, coming up. So yeah, I'm going to bet on that a little bit.
I get it. If I have like an ass ton of picks, which actually I don't, like a couple of leagues, I'm like, hey, bro, can I get some of them seconds? Like, yeah, like it's the funds are low, man. I would be a little bit more bullish on it, but I'm out on QBs. We'll make this last tier quick for time. I've got I want you to pick 2 players. We got Woody Marks, Jayden Blue, Shedeur Sanders, Elijah Arroyo. He likes Arroyo, not Arroyo. Dylan Sampson, Elic Ayomanor, Ty Felton, DJ Giddens, Devin Neal, Isaac Tesla, Harold Fanta Jr., Jalen Royals, Rashard Smith. This is the weird low hit rate range. Who are 2 that you are willing to buy that lottery ticket on and feel pretty excited going home with?
Well, I'm going to pick one because I know that you have some negative things to say about them for sure, and that's DJ Giddens. It's something we've talked about before, and I thought we could also then talk about the one that you compared to him and how you like him better, Woody Marks, because I want to give you some credit about Woody Marks and the draft capital he got and how you talked about him glowingly. And that was actually exciting. Like I came up on Woody Marks after you talked about him, seeing the draft capital, all those things. Not quite as high as DJ Giddens yet, who I do like as a prospect. Obviously, he fell in the draft further than we would like. I do think actually the landing spot's not bad though. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor's ahead of him, so he's not crossing Jonathan Taylor. But if he's going to be a handcuff somewhere, I like that.
It's a premium handcuff. Like I'll give him credit. That's a premium handcuff spot.
And I think he's clearly is going to that backfield. Like they needed to find it, and I think they found it in DJ Giddens. So that's exciting to me. And just I realize that he has a lot to clean up about his game. Like technically as a runner, he doesn't have good vision. His hands are pretty bad. They're pretty inconsistent. He was good once he got the ball in his hands as a receiver, but actually getting it into his hands was rough, and he can't pass block. Like he may never get there as a pass blocker in the NFL. But because of the dynamic athleticism he has and how productive he can be once the ball is actually in his hands, I kind of want to see if that develops.
I could see that. And thank you for the Woody Marks love, because I was going to be mine as well, man. Joe Mixon, man, he's hanging on by a thread. I think it's a lot of opportunity there. Shedeur Sanders, you guys should take shots on him. I don't need to point it out for you. Blah, blah, blah. We've said enough. Ty Felton is going to be mine. He got that day 2 draft capital at the end of the 3rd. I think that Jordan Addison is expendable. I'm not saying they're going to trade him, but I don't think that they need to give him a second contract, and this kind of gives that insurance. They get someone else who could stretch the field. Jordan Addison can play, I would say, flanker and on the slot. We know what Justin Jefferson is. We know what Hawk is. But he's someone, especially at cost, that I'm willing to make a bet on. And he might be better in best ball year 1, which is a death sentence for redraft and fantasy. But he's someone that I want to put on my my taxi squad and see what happens in the future, because he led the conference in receiving, was consistently one of the best receivers, is a good deep target. He needs a little bit better work at the catch point, but the production's there. He had a good RAS, and he has day 2 draft capital, and that's not nothing. So wonder there. Isaac Tesla as a freebie. I'm a Woo Pig Suey. I'm an Arkansas fan. I don't tell anyone until we get these little tiny wins. But I think the beat that JMO is going to be gone is going to be alive and well. Maybe they trade him to another team here. Like I said, there's a lot of needs at wide receiver. So it's not, I think there'll be a market for Jameson Williams. Before we go, Wyatt, you just got a new show that we're about to pop on. Where we're going to be at?
Press coverage, man. Been a lot of fun over there doing that show now. It's great having some great guests on, just trying to talk about everything fantasy football, whatever's relevant at that time, just trying to make everybody better.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah, man. Love having Wyatt on the player profile team. Well, as always, I'm Jagger May. Hit the like and subscribe button for more content. That is Wyatt. Is it Bertolone?
It's correct. Yeah.
Damn, I got it right first. Hell yeah. Wyatt Bertolone, he'll be over at Press Coverage on Player Profile. Love you guys, and we'll see you on the next one.
So I thought I needed. Ooh.